Well, 34-12 Steelers win on this Sunday. The Bengals now losers of 7 of 8 games since Joe Burrow's injury. And Skinny, I guess we'll just dive into, coming off the bye. Obviously, a lot of hope that the Bengals could find a win and get a little push going. What did you see that really went wrong in an overall ugly game on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job taking Jamar Chase and T. Higgins away, something they did not do in that Thursday night game. I mean, Jamar was targeted 23 times that night, and today both those guys had pretty quiet days. T had that early touchdown reception, but pretty quiet day for him too. Joe Flacco was not his best self. He was inaccurate at times. Through the interception for the touchdown that Kyle Duggar looked like he threw right to Kyle Duggar, and he goes 74 yards for the touchdown. They give up a scoop and score. And so you look at that and you go, okay, well, the defense, did they take a step forward because they only gave up 21 points? No, this Steelers offense is bad, man. It's a bad, bad offense. And they scored 21 points, had 343 yards. The Steelers' two biggest offensive outputs this season against the Bengals, 396 on that Thursday night game, and today 343 yards. So did they take a smidge step forward? Maybe, but the tackling was still awful. There was a little more pressure on the quarterback, but for the most part, this it's just a bad football team. It's playing out before our eyes. It's just a bad team.
And I think the biggest point with what you just said with the Steelers offense is, the last time they played, there was obviously the shootout between Rodgers and Flacco, and you say, oh, that's, two good quarterbacks that were going at that, like, historically wise, two great quarterbacks in NFL history. But I mean, this time in the second half, Mason Rudolph comes into this game after Rodgers got hurt. He's a guy that, sure, he's at times been a serviceable player when it's needed, but I mean, 12 for 16, 127 yards and a touchdown in a half that Pittsburgh took the lead and they were sort of running the ball down the stretch there, and he still was carving up the defense. And I mean, I don't know if you have an exact number on this, Skinny, with the missed tackles, but there was obviously the one play where Washington went down the sideline. There were three on that one, another two or three that just off the top of my head that I can think of. But I mean, again, this tackling plaguing the defense.
Yeah, no doubt. We got a 10-game sample size of this. Plus, we can go back to last season when they had a hard time tackling. I mean, I hate to do it. It is what it is, but it really is. I mean, they're just not a
Mhm.
good tackling football team. And there are times today, believe it or not, a couple players look scared to make a tackle. I get it, man. Darnell Washington's a big guy, but your job is to get him to the ground, and he punked you on a couple of plays. The first touchdown, the pass in the flat to Kenneth Gainwell, Barrett Carter looked like he read it beautifully, and then just takes a bad, bad angle. I guess it's not really a missed tackle, but it should have been a tackle. It's those things, and I was kind of holding out hope that coming out of the bye, maybe the two rookie linebackers will have seen at least enough and have a chance to decompress and get a fresh start. Well, they didn't even start Demetrius Knight today. They started Oren Burks. And then Barrett Carter, honestly, I thought that was probably the worst game he's played. And that's saying something because he has not played very well. So you just got problems and issues all across the board. And now Cam Taylor Britt rather was in a walking boot in the locker room after the game, and that's usually not a good sign either. And you're already thin at cornerback, and yeah, this season's gone now. This season's a lost cause. But you need to start seeing some stuff that makes you feel better about next year, and it's not just whenever Joe Burrow returns. It's a lot of other parts that we have to see get better.
Yeah, I want to go back to earlier. You brought up the Chase targets, Jamar Chase targets last game had so many. What do you think it says about? Obviously, Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches that's ever coached in the National Football League. Just the adjustments from Pittsburgh from that first game and how they were able to come into this one and really force the Bengals into a game plan that probably they weren't expecting, and the Bengals on the other side not really being able to adjust for what Pittsburgh was able to do in this one.
Yeah, the Steelers played a lot of man to man that last time. It was almost like, okay, we're going to see what this looks like, and we're good enough to do it. No, you weren't. I mean, it was proven out that night, and I think the adjustment was today. There was a lot more doubles, and probably at times on both of those guys. You saw a lot of passes in the middle of the field to different people, check downs to Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown had 6 catches. Noah Fan had 3 catches. Tanner Hudson had 3 catches. That's 12 of, I think, Flacco's 23 completions, half of them to those three guys. And I think it's because the Steelers decided, listen, you may beat us that way, but you're not beating us throwing the ball 23 times as Jamar Chase and letting T. Higgins go 6 catches for 96 yards too. We're just not going to let that happen. And they didn't.
Yeah, and I think on the first drive, Andre Josivach had 2 targets on that one, 2 receptions, and that was kind of the feeling. And I thought I was like, oh, this is the way that you're going to attack, get the ball to everyone else, and then force them to get rid of the doubles. and then Jamar Chase can have a day, and it just never seemed to come together from that point. And now that the Bengals are sitting at 3-7, 3 games back from Pittsburgh, Baltimore's playing right now as we're talking against Cleveland. We'll see what happens in that one, but for all intents and purposes, the playoff chances are probably less than 1% right now. So you're really at this point moving on. What do you want to see in terms of, you brought up you need a lot of people to show stuff at the end of this year. What's something that you're looking for in these last 6 games?
Want to see the rookie linebackers play better for sure because they're your, Oren Burks. I think today was more of a hey, we need to have a veteran on the field because the two rookies together weren't working well. Let it play out for the last 7 games and let's see what that looks like. Let's see how much better maybe they can get. I thought Miles Murphy flashed at times today, and listen, I've been a big critic of Miles Murphy and probably rightfully so, but I think you got to give credit where credit's due. I thought he was pretty active today. I thought he had a pretty good game at one point. He had 5 tackles at one point in the first half, had the quarterback sack as well. Initially, he shared it with BJ Hill, but then they gave it to him alone. So he got a solo sack. And I thought there were other times he was disruptive. I need to see more of that. Um, you know, Otherwise, do we get now a bigger dose of Josh Newton? And let's see what that looks like over the last 7 games to where going into next year, you could feel good about, having Josh on the outside along with DJ Turner, who's played very, very well. But I need to see something out of this. I think I'm at the point now where honestly, I know they are really reticent to play either of the backup safeties, Tyson Anderson or PJ Jules, and at some point Dejon Anthony's going to come off IR. But at this point, why not? I mean, why? Let's see what you got in those guys because what you got right now and the other two guys, that's not working either. I mean, it's a disaster.
All right, well, that'll do it from Pittsburgh in this one. The Bengals falling 34-12, the final to the Steelers to fall to 3-7. Now they get ready for a matchup against top of the AFC Patriots team next week. Thanks, Kenny.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Thanks.